Welcome back. We have recently been talking about how to add and subtract integers, and today we're going to move on to multiplying and dividing integers, so a new set of rules. So this time in the video, when we're multiplying and dividing integers, we will have different rules for the sign of our answer. So make sure that you're understanding that these signs apply when you multiply or divide. And we're going to start out, multiplication is just actually repeated addition. So when we say 3 and then parenthesis minus 500, that means that 3 is multiplied by negative 500, or that negative 500 is used as an addend 3 times. What that means is it's negative 500 plus negative 500 plus negative 500. We can do that in our head and get negative 1500. So our first rule for signs, when we're multiplying integers with different signs, then our answer is negative. Okay, so we said 3 is positive, negative 500 was negative, our result was negative. So when their signs are different, then we have a negative answer. Here are some examples for you. 6 times negative 8, our signs are different, so we should get a negative answer, and it's negative 48. Negative 9 times 2, again, different signs, so we should get negative 18. Here are 3 for you to try on your own. Go ahead and pause the video and I'll give you your answers when you come back. All right, I hope you took some time to try these. They have different signs. So this case we'll have negative 15 when we multiply 5 times negative 3. Negative 8 times 6 is negative 48. Negative 2 times a positive 4 is negative 8. Different signs, answer is negative. So just remember the rule there. The product of two positive integers is positive. We've known that. What is the sign of the product of two negative integers? Well, here's our pattern. A negative times a positive is a negative. Negative times a positive is negative. We're just going to go from 2 to 1 to 0, and then we go to negative 1, negative 2. So we're just going through our integers. When we get to 0, it doesn't have a sign, and then all of a sudden it switches and it goes positive. So we notice when the signs are the same, when they're both negative, it's positive, and when they're both positive, we already knew that it was positive. So the product of two integers with the same sign is positive. Remember, product means multiply. That's another word for multiply. If they're both positive, you get a positive. If they're both negative, you get a positive. Same sign, positive. Different sign, negative. Here are some examples. Negative 4 times negative 3. Same sign. We'll get a positive answer, positive 12. Try these 3 and see if you can get those on your own. All right, both are negative, so 3 times 7 is 21. We're going to get a positive answer. Both are positive. 6 times 4 is 24. Negative 5 squared means negative 5 times negative 5. Common mistake students make is take negative 5 times 2, but that's not what it means to square a number. So if signs are the same, negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25. All right, if we're going to multiply more than two integers, we can use both the associative and commutative properties. Remember, the associative property tells us about grouping numbers together. The commutative property switches the order. So we're going to use the same example for both to demonstrate both properties. So negative 2 times 13 times negative 5. What we can do here is we can group the first two together and find that answer and then multiply it by negative 5. And negative 2 times positive 13 is negative 26. And now when we multiply negative 26 times negative 5, we have a negative times a negative, so we will get a positive answer, and our answer should be 130. If we use the commutative property, that says we can switch the order of the numbers. So this time they're going to move the 5 next to the 2, okay? And so now if we go ahead and multiply negative 2 times negative 5, we get a positive 10. And that math is a lot easier to do, so 10 times 13 is 130. So you can use both associative and commutative properties to make the math the easiest for you. Here are a couple for you to try on your own. I will give you the answers to these when you come back. Pause the video. We'll see you in a minute. All right, I hope you tried those. What I would do on this one is I would group the -2 and -5 together. So I would say, okay, I'm going to group these two together first and multiply those, and then I'll take that answer times 4. So we know -2 times -5 is a positive 10, and then I'm going to take 10 times 4, which gives us 40. Now you may have chosen to go ahead and do 4 times -2 and get -8, and then take -8 times -5 and get positive 40. Remember, it doesn't matter, so you may have chosen a different way to go about getting your answer. As long as you get the same answer in the end, that's what matters. All right, on the second example, I would just do those left to right. -1 times -3 is positive 3, and then we still have that times a -8. So now we have a positive times a negative. Signs are different, so we're going to get a negative answer, and 3 times 8 is 24. Here's one, -2 to the third power. I would encourage you to write these out. -2 to the third power means you're going to multiply -2 times itself 3 times in a row. So we know that when we do the first two, then when the signs are the same, we get a positive answer, but we still have one more -2 out there. Now they have different signs, so now 4 times -2 is -8. So in that example, and you'll see a pattern that emerges if you were to experiment with a lot of exponents. If the exponent is an odd number, it turns out negative. If the exponent is a positive number, or excuse me, an even number, you end up with a positive result. All right, so this one they want us to look at the different multiplication sentences and their division sentences. And multiplication over here, same signs, 4 times 3, we got 12. What happens when we divide 12 by 3? Well, we get a positive 4. What if we divide the 12 by the 4 instead of the 3? Well, we get the other factor, which is a positive 3. Multiplication sentence of -4 times positive 3 gives us -12. Well, here they're going to divide the 3, so what should we get? A division of a negative and a positive should give us a negative, and both negatives should give us a positive. Take a look at the third example, multiplying different signs, getting a negative answer. Here we have the same sign, so we should get a positive answer. Different signs should give us a negative result. And then lastly, -4 and -3. Since we got our -3 here, we should get our -4 factor. -4 gives us a -3. So you'll notice a pattern there, very similar to our multiplication. When we have different signs, our result is negative. When we have the same sign, our result is positive. So whether it's multiplication or division, the rules are the same. So let's take a look at some examples. What is -24 divided by positive 3? They have different signs, so our result will be negative, and 24 divided by 3 is 8, so we should get -8. How about -30 divided by -15? Well, these are the same sign, so we should get a positive result, and it should be positive 2. Here are 3 more for you to try, and we'll work through the answers together when you come back. Pause the video. All right, I hope you were able to get through these. We have both of them have the same sign, so a negative and a negative should give us a positive result. 28 divided by 7 is 4. On the letter K, 36 divided by -2, we have different signs, positive 36, -2, so our answer should be negative this time because they have different signs, and half of 36 is 18. Letter L, different signs again, -40 divided by a positive 8, so we should get a negative result, and 40 divided by 8 is 5. In this slide, it tells us you can use all the rules that you've learned for adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing integers to evaluate algebraic expressions. Now remember, when it says evaluate, we want to get a number in the end. If we're evaluating, our answer is a number. We don't want any letters. In this example, it says evaluate -2a minus b. If a is -3, b is -5. So we're going to be substituting. Wherever we see the letter a, we'll put in -3. Wherever we see the letter b, we will substitute -5. So we'll get rid of our variables and we will just have numbers. So when a number and a letter are next to each other, that means we're multiplying. So we have -2 times -3 minus a minus 5. All we did was substitute it in, negative 5 for B, negative 3 for A. We replaced those letters with the numbers. So now we have two numbers that are multiplied with the same sign. This should give us a positive 6 minus a minus 5. So you know when you have minus a minus, that's a plus. So that gives us a result of 11. Here are 3 for you to try, and we'll work through the answers when you get back. All right, I hope you had a chance to try those. This time we have A is negative 4, B is 5, C is negative 6. So we have C plus 3A. Well, C is negative 6, so we're going to do negative 6 plus 3 times whatever A is. And A in this example is negative 4. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and multiply 3 times negative 4 first. Those are different signs, so we get a negative answer of negative 12. And we still have a minus 6 out here. And so minus 6 minus 12, remember we could think of that as minus 6 plus a negative 12 if you'd like to think of it that way. Both signs are the same, so we add the numbers and it's negative 18. Same sign, negative answer. Letter N, we're going to go ahead and do this one. It says negative 10 divided by, let's just replace the A and the B, negative 4 plus 5. A is negative 4, B is 5. Now remember, this division bar is kind of like putting parentheses around anything that's added or subtracted in your numerator or denominator. So you have to do that first before you can do this division. So this means we have negative 10 divided by negative 4 plus 5. So we're going to subtract the numbers, and we end up getting a positive 1. So our answer is negative 10. Letter O, we have AB. Now when the letters are next to each other, that means that they're multiplied. So A is negative 4, and then we have B is 5. So B is 5, and then we're going to add to that C squared. So C is negative 6, and that is going to be squared. So our order of operations, remember, says we have to do our exponents first. So negative 6 squared means negative 6 times negative 6, and negative 6 times negative 6, let me just write out the rest of this, negative 4 times 5, and negative 6 times negative 6 gives us positive 36. Then we can do our multiplication from left to right. A negative times a positive is a negative, and 4 times 5 is 20. And now we have a negative 20 plus 36, opposite sign, so we subtract the numbers, and we end up with 16, and that's going to be a positive 16. And lastly, just a summary of our multiplying and dividing integers rules. Remember, it says that if the quotient or the product means multiply, quotient means divide. So if we're multiplying or dividing two integers with the same sign, our result is positive. If they have different signs, our result is negative. We'll see you next time.